Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode number 14 of Snow Day Sports. I am your co-host, Dalton Barrett, along with, I guess, my other co-host, Max Linden. We're both back at school right now. I had my first day of classes today.
I had my first day of classes today as well, so we're putting the student podcast hosts. I'm glad we're both co-hosts today. I mean, one of us was a host and one of us was a co-host last week, so I'm glad we're on the same level now.
We got a pretty exciting episode for you guys today. Kind of a big topic on our hands today will be when we have Luke Reuter on. He'll be talking about the state amateur baseball tournament, which has been going on the last few weekends here, and it's really ramping up here. They have the Elite Eight coming this weekend. That'll be on Saturday, followed by the semis on Sunday and the championship games on Monday, actually on Labor Day. So that's kind of winding down to the end here, and I've been following a little bit on my phone, and there's some very high quality baseball players right now. Some very high quality baseball being played in Glencoe, Hutchinson, and Broughton right now. I don't know if you've been following it at all, but
Yeah, I've been following it a little bit, just seeing who won. I haven't watched too many of the games, but if you're in Minnesota, Labor Day weekend brings great times. It's week one of college football that weekend. The best amateur baseball around at the town team state championships, and we finally have three tournaments this year for the first time ever.
I'm very excited actually. As they'll be kicking off on Thursday at I believe it's 7 p.m. kickoff at Huntington Bank Stadium, taking on the University of Buffalo. With the anticipated debut of quarterback Drake Lindsay, kind of see what he has. I'm not sure if many folks remember, but I think this is year nine for Fleck now, is it? His actual first game as a Gopher coach came against the University of Buffalo, and that was with a first-year starter as well. That game ended up starting a guy named Connor Rhoda. I'm not sure if you guys remember it at all. We got to see the spark that Tyler Johnson showed early in his career in that game, but somewhat familiar opponent for the Gophers, even though they're non-conference. But I think this Gopher team is just a wee bit ahead of that team back in I don't know, was it 2016 or something like that. So
Yeah, that was year zero for Fleck. So it was getting his program established. God, I hope they're a lot better than this Buffalo team. I hope we don't have another Bowling Green situation on our hands.
this non-conference schedule, I mean, we have Cal in there, which would be a tough game. These first two games are really, Adam Sandler called it in The Longest Yard, or Paul Crew could say, kind of a tune-up game, as Buffalo is definitely in the lower end of FBS opponents than Northwestern State in week two. And well, they're currently rated lower nationally than NAIA schools. So yeah, a
Yeah.
tune-up game would be the best way to say it.
As long as they can walk to the stadium, they'll win that Northwestern State game. They're a really bad FCS program, so I hope they can't even remotely compete against us.
There's not a whole lot of position battle-wise going on for the Gophers right now. I mean, quarterback, everyone that's followed the program kind of knows, Drake Lindsey's the guy. At running back, Darius Taylor is obviously the guy there. It'll be interesting to see, last year he was utilized quite a bit as a pass catcher. It'll be interesting to see if we continue to use him that way as he is a very explosive back out wide. So offensive line is just really the big question for the Gophers. But we had a couple of games where we kind of figured some things out. Coach Callahan had those guys coached up, and hopefully rolling into Berkeley in a few weeks here and ready to go. Outside of wide receiver, we have quite a few new faces actually. Exciting, you could say. Last year we had, Daniel Jackson had a really good season. Had wide receiver, we had the emergence of Elijah Spencer, which was really cool to see as a transfer because typically, in past years, transfer wide receivers haven't adapted too well. Things seem to be changing there. We got Javion Tracy going to be he's a big-time transfer wide receiver who's being actually on the Blitnikoff Award watch list, which is really cool to see, which is essentially just the best wide receiver in college football. So early recognition there. And with the addition of Logan Loya as well from UCLA, kind of had his way with the Gophers last year, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be important to see Coy show out because, like, not only is he going to be in that safety room, going to be the ball hawk that he was last year, and he's also going to be a receiver. I'm very excited to see how that works. I don't know if it's going to be the full Travis Hunter experience where he's playing 80% of the game snaps, I feel like they're gonna have the Koi package
Hmm.
in Harbaugh is let him be who he is, and that's a incredible athlete. And I don't think they show a lot of it versus Buffalo or Northwestern State. I could see it a lot in that Berkeley game,
Hmm.
just to like put some stuff on film and like make it in a game that they need it to win probably. Or
Hmm.
like at least it will make it will make a difference. Dalton, I see us going 3-0 in the non-con, like, but I like our chances at Cal, an ACC school.
Weirdly enough, an ACC school on the West Coast. I still can't get that process through my mind, but I'm in Stanford now. So Max said, I mean, I really don't see a reason we don't start 3-0. And the Gophers have had some struggles on the West Coast in the past in games they should have won that were a bit closer than they should have been, particularly 2019 on the road at Fresno State.
Antoine Winfield clinched it, just appeared on the TV and clinched it for the Gophers in overtime.
Yeah, I remember watching that game. It was 'cause we were actually together at that game, and I remember all thinking, "Man, we just freaking lost to Fresno when that ball was soaring through the air." Because I saw that Fresno receiver wide open, and Winfield appeared out of nowhere. People in Fresno aren't too fond of him, unfortunately. If I remember correctly, that was a game where Chris Ottman. It was what, 4th and 17 or something like that. We were driving in there, and Chris Ottman Bell made a toe tap grab in the back of the end zone to send it in OT.
It was a pseudo Pac-12 at dark game because it was late night. It wasn't a Pac-12 team at the time, but
Mhm.
it was still a very late West Coast game and
Yeah.
had a lot of exciting moments in it.
Yeah, but after I guess those 3 games here, after the Gophers get done with they actually have a week off and they'll be home against the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, or they'll be taking on the former Gopher quarterback Ethan Kaliak-Manis and former Gopher offensive coordinator Kirk Shiraka. Gophers unfortunately came out on the short end of it last year, but a week off in there, I could see the Gophers be riled up and ready to go and getting a win there. I don't know what you think.
God, if they lose to Athens twice in back-to-back years at home off a bye week, that would be really bad and really improbable. And I really don't see that happening.
Right. Yeah. So you and I both have them 4-0 into Columbus, into the shoe to take on the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. I mean, we all know that's going to be a tough one.
I don't believe we are leaving that place 5-0. I'd be very
No,
excited if they do, but they're not.
it'd be a miracle to be completely honest. Gophers have played them tough in the shoe in the past, but that's tough. I mean, that's not coming out with the win. The scores are usually pretty tight going to the fourth, and the Buckeyes usually end up kind of pulling away. It's kind of seems in the past, but you never know. But I am unfortunately going to see them leaving Columbus 4-1.
And then, yeah, it gets a lot easier in the next week when we host Purdue, and they are bad. They are a bad football team.
Yeah, they are a bad football team, is right.
So, yeah.
This could quietly be a trap game. I believe it's going to be homecoming there for the University of Minnesota. So, and I see them winning that game. No real issues. So, I mean, I see us 5-1 or into a Friday night kickoff actually against the University of Nebraska at Huntington Bank Stadium. So that one's going to be on Fox. Matt Rule area is rolling into bank again. Last time these two teams played, I guess, it was a very tight-knit game. Daniel Jackson ended up making one heck of a play in the end zone to win the game off a very poorly thrown ball.
Put it
Yeah,
in the spot that only Daniel Jackson could catch. People love to talk about the route that he ran on that play, which was absolutely filthy, but the catch was just
that's
as
good.
impressive.
Yeah, that catch. I mean, I remember listening to that game on the radio. Actually, I was coming back from one of my brother's games up in Bemidji. Mike Grimm, I can remember him on the radio, Gophers play-by-play guy. And oh my goodness, incomplete. He overthrew him. He was wide open. And oh no, it's a touchdown. I can
Yeah, it
vividly
was.
remember Mike Grimm saying that. I remember thinking, we just lost to freaking Nebraska.
It's gonna be Raiola's first trip against the Gophers. We didn't play Nebraska last year for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't love that the Big Ten scheduled that, but it's always fun to play Nebraska. We've always had historical success against them.
Mhm.
This
This,
is,
this is going to be a tough one, though.
yeah, this is one of the few iffy games so far. I just see us being on the winning end of it.
Matt Rule is a very good football coach. I like him a lot, kind of the way he goes about things. It's just Nebraska not historically having great success against the University of Minnesota. The bank will be rocking that Friday night. I like the Gophers in that one. Then, following that one, we'll be headed down to Kinnick Stadium for a battle for the pig, Florida Rosedale. Yeah, time hasn't been announced for that one yet. I'm assuming it'll probably be an early afternoon game. That is going to be a dang good football game.
Oh yeah, always is. I know Iowa loves beating up on Minnesota, and historically they've done a great job of doing that, being on the winning end of a lot of games. I mean, if you ask Iowa fans, they should have been on the winning end of 2023, but rules are rules.
Yep. It wasn't a fair catch. It was an invalid fair catch.
Our D line coach at Drake was on that team, Joe Evans.
Uh,
Yeah, I like to tease him about that one every now and again. But I I see us struggling to go into Kinnick and getting out with the wins, and I don't think we can do that this year. They got
yeah.
Mike Gronowski. I think they're gonna have a competent offense for the first time,
You know,
and their
a lot.
defense will be the Iowa defense. So I
Yeah.
think they'll be too much for the Gophers to handle.
Yeah. I mean, we also kind of thought that the year they ended up pulling it off, but I mean, we got a little hope from the refs that game, to be completely honest. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. I'm looking forward to driving down to Kinnick and taking that one in. I'll be actually sitting on the Gopher sideline with a big Iowa Hawkeye fan. And that'll be a battle. I'm really looking forward to that trip. Being completely realistic, I don't see them pulling it off in Kinnick Stadium that day. Kinnick's not very nice to opposing teams, especially when you're winning a lot of ball games. Like I remember there being past years where Ohio State goes in there ranked top, 5 in the country and gets blown out, or even the Gophers being ranked top 10 in the country and losing. So,
That was a heartbreaker in 2019.
the next week though gets a little bit easier. Michigan State, I mean, they're still a Big Ten football team. It's just talent's down there right now. It will be a home game for the Gophers. Should be a win there. That'll put us at what, 6-2?
Yeah, I got two losses. I hope we don't lose to Michigan State. They're a bottom tier Big Ten team.
Mhm.
Gotta win those games.
Following that one in the second week of November there during a gun hunting season here in Minnesota, the Gophers will be headed out to do a little duck hunting actually out in Eugene, Oregon, as they'll be taking on the currently seventh ranked Oregon Ducks.
Pac-12 after dark.
Yeah, Pac-12 after dark type of game. Never thought I'd see the Gophers playing one of those again, but this will be a fun one. Unique atmosphere out in Eugene. A very tight, tough football team. Dan Lanning, I'm a big fan of him. He gets his guys ready to go. I just don't really see the Gophers pulling this one off, to be completely honest.
There's going to be one big advantage that the Gophers will have going into this is that it's going to be Michigan State bye week, Friday night against Oregon. Oregon that Saturday travels to Kinnick and plays Iowa. So I think that's kind of a tough turnaround to go from there. And like you're going to get beat up against that Iowa team. Like
Yep.
they'll still run the ball. I don't know if that's going to be enough for the Gophers to win, but I think that's going to make it
Very.
closer than I think Oregon fans want it to be, and a lot of fans expect it to be.
Mhm. And it's going to be a tough one out in Eugene, to be completely honest. Gophers' first trip out there, I think, probably ever. A few years back, they ended up playing at Oregon State. Those two are rivals, but Eugene's a different animal. Let's be completely honest. The Ducks are a bit different. So that puts us at what, 6-3 right here?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see us going into Oregon and winning it. I mean, I'd like it to. I'd like the factors to be on our side. I just don't see them getting out the win there.
Sorry, it puts us at 7-3. My mistake. At that point, we'll be actually traveling out to, I was going to say Evanston, but we'll be traveling to Wrigley actually, take on the Wildcats of Northwestern. As much as I wanted the Gophers to play at that little lakeside site they have on Evanston right now, which I think is beautiful. Obviously, not a football venue as it's temporarily, as Ryan Field's temporarily being upgraded, but this will be a fun one out at Wrigley. I don't really see the Gophers losing this, to be completely honest, because Northwestern, it's tough out there right now. I love Coach Braun. I've met the guy a few times. Really nice, humble guy. He's still kind of putting his pieces together in that program right now. Yeah, they have a new offensive coordinator this year, Zach Luan, who was recently at South Dakota State. A lot of new staff in there as well. So I just don't really see them losing to the Wildcats here. That puts us at 8-3.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction for that game. There will
Mhm.
be more Gopher fans in Wrigley Field than there will be Northwestern fans. I don't know if it will quite feel like a Gophers home game, but it will definitely feel
Not like a Northwestern home game.
no, definitely not. And as someone who has been to Ryan Field before, that stadium needed the upgrades, so it's good to see them. I think they're almost. It sounds like they're pretty much starting from scratch, like
Yeah,
which it probably needed anyways. Hopefully that draws a little bit of a fan base. I'm just excited to see what the Wisconsin game Thanksgiving.
which that's the cool thing about this rivalry here, though, is it's always kind of played last week of the regular season. I assume it'll probably be nationally televised. Wisconsin does have a very tough schedule this year, I will say. The Gophers have kind of been taking it to the Badgers the last few years. Home game for the Gophers probably 4 p.m. kickoff, something like that, unless things completely go off the rails and Badgers come out with fire. And I don't really see the Gophers losing this game. PJ Flex kind of seemed like he has Luke Fickell's number right now.
This isn't the 2019 or the really good Wisconsin teams that were able to have the well, what did it end up getting to? 15, 16 straight games?
Something like that. I think
Yeah.
he was even 17th.
Yeah, because I remember I was either 16 or 17 when I could finally see the axe at the state fair for the first time in my lifetime. Yeah, it was a long time coming. The Wisconsin teams are
They're a lot
down
different.
are down since then, which has allowed PJ to have a lot of success against Wisconsin. That I think it propels them over the top in this one. I think we predicted all of the games the same way. We could just say the Snow Day Sports go for predictions.
It'll be a fun game, like always, with the Badgers. I mean, Wisconsin's still kind of in that transitional phase, it seems like, from into the Luke Fickell era over there, which I've been hearing a lot of things about. Maybe some of the boosters aren't too happy with Fickell out there right now, which I mean, it happens to everybody. PJ Fleck kind of got the same thing after his first year here when we had a losing record. I think we can both agree. I mean, this is a very tough schedule for Wisconsin this year, and it might be a make or break year for Luke Fickell.
Yeah, I think it's not one of those things where it took him a year to establish the culture at Wisconsin. It's like I think he's got to at least show improvement this year. I don't know if they're expecting a natty or like
Mhm.
really to get into the playoffs or anything close to that, but I think they got to be top third
I was
of the big
confident.
of
They
the
got to make a bowl game.
they can't make one of those 6-win bowl games either or the 5-win bowl games that the Gophers excel at. I'm very surprised how poorly the Luke Fickell era has gone in Wisconsin. What he did at Cincinnati and just
That was
hasn't,
incredible.
yeah, hasn't been able to transfer it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When Wisconsin ended up hiring him, my first thought was, crap. Wisconsin's about to freaking go on another run here and just win 15 straight rivalry games against the Gophers. But it's been the opposite to this point, knock on wood. Um, yeah, the year the Gophers end up hiring Fleck, I mean, Fleck was kind of in the same position as Fickle, though, when you think about it. Probably had the top team outside of the Power Five at the time when he was at Western Michigan. Fickle, obviously came fresh off a playoff appearance at Cincinnati, first ever non-Power Five team to make the playoffs. So,
Yeah, I
but
mean, hopefully for Luke Fickell's sake they turn it around. Hopefully for our sake they go down.
yeah, but yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a battle regardless. Bowl game predictions: the Gophers finished 9-3 according to us. What do you think of bowl game here?
Oh, I think that would get us a nice juicy Cheez It Bowl bid.
I would love to see them go play in, is it even the Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl anymore? Where, it'd be cool to see them getting maybe an Outback Bowl or something like that again, or so. It'd be cool to maybe play in the Alamo Bowl as well.
The Alamo Bowl would be fun. I would love the Pop Tarts Bowl, but I don't know if the conferences work out for that.
Right. Someplace warm would be fun.
Yeah. No,
Let's not,
it's
let's not go back to Detroit and playing a Quick Lane Bowl or
the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
that was a fun bowl game though. I will give them that. That was something different.
If there was one coach who was going to embrace the Mayo celebration, it was going to be PJ Fleck.
Yep. Do you have a particular MVP for the Gophers this season?
I'm not going to say MVP, but I am going to say an X Factor. I'm going to say we go as he goes, and that's going to be Drake Lindsey.
Mhm.
Is going to be the first year starting. He's not going to be Max Brosmer. They're going to be two very different guys. Brosmer was, you knew he was a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but you knew what you were getting with Brosmer. He was a developed product. Drake is a young product, so I don't know how well he's going to do, but we go as he goes.
Hmm. Yeah, something to note over the weekend was Quincy Avery actually tweeted out and said, "But I mean, this is Quincy Avery, but I mean, he's pretty bold with his statements. I'll give him that. He'll own up to him, and he was the quarterback trainer for Max Brosmer. He trains a lot of the top guys as well, and he's been training Drake Lindsay over this past offseason as well with all the Gopher wideouts. And he did say he would not be surprised if Max or Drake Lindsay's a first round draftee by the time he's done. Which for the Gophers, I mean, does he? Hopefully, but I mean, Lindsay is. I mean, he's a stereotypical quarterback. I mean, he's a tall guy, strong arm. Well, we'll just wait and see here.
Obviously, we know the Gophers are going to like to run the ball, and they have Jarius Taylor, who's probably going to end up being the team MVP.
Hmm.
But I think uh, more success rides behind Drake Lindsay than it does Darius Taylor.
I would agree. Yeah, so I mean, team MVP, I'll agree with you. Darius Taylor, or he's probably offensive, defensive, and Coy Parrish is kind of an obvious one here, but I'm gonna go down into the D line actually, and take Anthony Smith. He's getting some hype draft here, coming as a top draft prospect, and I really like him this year as I mean, he is an interior defensive lineman, but very good, talented player down there. So he's going to give a lot of offensive fits.
Yeah, for sure. It's Gophers have produced quite a bit of D linemen. Hopefully, he's the next one that makes the transition to the NFL. Speaking of the NFL, roster cuts are due this week,
Mhm.
and I think Max Brosmer has officially made the 53-man roster
Yeah,
for
if it hasn't been announced, it will be announced essentially.
with the departure of Sam Howell. They were probably going to keep three. I think Max is now the two. I mean, they also signed Carson Wentz, and the Vikings pretty much got a free fifth-round pick for 3 months of Sam Howell. So great work,
Mhm.
Kwesi.
As far as I know, Sam Howell's the first QB to not pass the KOC rehabilitation process.
I mean, Daniel Jones was here for a cup of coffee, basically, and he's already won a QB competition. Granted, it was against Anthony Richardson.
And very much due to injury, but hey, he's an NFL starter.
I think it was just a poor scheme fit when it comes
Mhm.
down to it. Is couldn't get out of Sam Howell what they needed to get out of Sam Howell's. They got more out of it than they put into it, which is always a great sign.
Yeah, and Brandon Carson Wentz, who many of you may remember as North Dakota State kind of prodigy there. He was probably the most notable there. Quarterback they've had in recent years, drafted second overall by the Eagles. Second year was playing at an MVP level before he ended up sustaining an injury, unfortunately, which then the Rams were given over to Nick Foles, who won a Super Bowl for the Eagles, unfortunately. And Wentz just couldn't ever really find his true self again after that, which is unfortunate. But from the way it sounds, he grew up a big Vikings fan. Yeah, he was from a small town in North Dakota. Actually, had the pleasure of meeting him before. Very nice, humble guy. I'm really excited. He brings a veteran presence to that QB room with I guess Josh McCown as well. Having JJ McCarthy and Max Brosmer kind of under his wing, I'm excited for it.
I do like Carson just to be a veteran influence in that quarterback room.
Mhm.
Granted, the coaches have all played, but I think it's different when like advice comes from your fellow players and it's not somebody holding your hand. Wasn't always the best decision maker when he played in those games, so maybe he doesn't need to impart some of that wisdom onto JJ, but I think he'll teach him how to be a pro.
Yeah, I would agree. So that's really kind of notable about the Vikings QB room there. Obviously, Brett Rippon was let go. Max Brosmer looked very good in that preseason game last week against the Titans. Played 90% of it. It seemed like Rippon got a small stint, didn't do a whole lot, and Brosmer was put right back in. And you saw the true Max Brosmer, I guess you could say. You knew you were going to get out of him. He wasn't going to turn the football over, and would you agree? I mean, he's kind of a game manager.
Yeah, he's a game manager, and sometimes that's not the worst thing from a backup quarterback. So
Mhm.
hopefully he continues to not need to push it if he ever needs to be out there. So I think we're in capable hands if he's a backup. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think it's interesting when you compare the how the Vikings have handled their quarterback room with how like a team like the Browns have handled their quarterback room. They had four guys that could conceivably make their 53 man roster. So they were fortunate enough to trade Kenny Pickett, but unlike the Vikings when we rented Sam Howell for camp, we got more when we traded him than we paid for him. The Browns got the same thing pretty much.
Mhm.
Maybe even a little worse because they ended up having to trade DTR to the
Oh,
Eagles
yep.
with a fifth round pick and only got a fifth round pick back. So it's yeah, they're not in a great spot, and I think it means Shadur's gonna be on that roster, which everybody was so ready to talk about. I don't know if he's gonna be the emergency third, so I don't know if you'll see too many game action, but I think Shadur is on the 53 man roster because of that move.
Joe Flacco, QB1, obviously. Dylan Gabriel, QB2. I should do her at three. Yeah, it's just been a weird situation out in Cleveland. But speaking of the Sanders, Shiloh, who was playing with the Buccaneers,
He was with preseason member of the Buccaneers, no longer a member of the Buccaneers.
yeah, he got one punch in the game, and
He
he
made
got
his impact felt.
very much so. I saw a tweet right after that from I can't remember who it tweeted it out, but man, both Shiloh and Shador are going to be playing the USFL here pretty soon, which that just made me laugh.
Shiloh was always the other Sanders.
Right.
It's Shadur and the other one.
Pretty
So
much.
there hasn't been a lot of like notable preseason guys this year. I feel like every once in a while, the one guy you've heard a little bit about, and that's probably just because I have seen him play in college, was Efton Chisholm out of Eastern Washington, went to the New England Patriots. He's
Mhm.
going to be in the New England Patriots white slot receiver factory, and I think he should make the roster. I know how hard it was for us to deal with him last year. Like he had 9 catches, I think like 70 some yards and a touchdown, and we were satisfied with that output.
Yeah, then with Mike Vrabel running the show out in New England right now, there could be something cooking out in Foxborough right now. So lately I've been listening to a lot of that I guess old episodes of is it Games with Names with Julian Edelman.
hmm
Hearing some of those old stories out there about all that stuff just cracks me up. So
It's Mike Vrabel is a very interesting dude. There's not another Mike Vrabel out there, so I think he's a leader of men for sure, and I think he'll improve that Patriots team, and we'll see the kind of players he has around him.
yeah, so with Drake May, running the QB show out there. So yeah, we'll see what happens out there. I guess shifting back to college here and college game day, more specifically, Lee Corso final send off.
College game day will not be the same without him. I know
No,
there was bits last year where he was sick, but could you imagine what college game day would have been if Lee Corso was never a part of it?
right?
I think like Dez, Herbie, Chris Fowler, they're all great at their jobs, but I feel like they would be replaceable.
Mhm.
Like if you didn't have Lee Corso, their college game day just would not be on right now.
Mhm.
And like the headgear pick, and it's so fitting he gets to do it in Ohio State. Side of the first headgear pick. Game day is going to be different without him.
He's famous for many lines. One of my favorites, to be completely honest, is when they had a little kid on there as a guest picker for the Harvard Yale game. And the kid ends up picking Yale and decides to go Bulldogs or something like that. And wait a minute, hold on there, midget. I'll take Harvard.
Yeah.
So,
No, it was so funny. It's so like spur of the moment. Like it just calls him a midget. I would love to know what that kid's doing nowadays. He's not really a kid anymore, but the classic not so fast.
not so fast, midget.
Yeah, not so fast. No, I don't know. I don't know. My favorite Lee Corso moment is when he's at SMU in Houston.
Uh-huh.
And he always does the thing where he's like, gonna pick the road team, and then he picks the home team at the last second. And when he goes to doing it, he has it here, and he's like, F it. Except he didn't say F. It was so funny. And it's just to see like Herbie, everybody's reaction around him is just so classic. And he's just like in the headgear. It's so funny.
In my lifetime, college game day has been in Minneapolis one time, which I unfortunately had a broken leg at the time, so I couldn't attend. That was 2019. We kind of talked about as magical season for the Gophers earlier, and That game ended up getting blown out of the water.
I went to that college game day, and I didn't go to the game. I went to game day, and I certainly made the right decision.
Or no, I actually take that back. He's been in Minnesota twice actually, because
Yeah,
the very
because
next year, during COVID, they had hosted game day in the stadium when nobody could attend, which the
yeah,
Gophers ended up getting whooped up on by the Wolverines that game. But
I'm sensing a common theme. Game day is so different without the fans. And
yeah, I would agree.
yeah, game day is going to be a lot different without Lee Corso, and college football as a whole will
Mm.
definitely miss Lee Corso and hope he has a happy and fruitful retirement.
Yeah, 90 years old, and still going full force ahead, and until he's 90. So
Yeah.
kudos to Lee. I mean, he is a legend.
Which, speaking of legends, Dalton, it's about that time in the episode where we crown this week's local legend.
We kind of talked about it earlier, but state amateur baseball tournament's been going on, and the Raymond Rockets upset the Buckman Billy Goats here the other night. Someone who had a big influence in that game, guy you and I know actually very well, Eli Nelson. He had having a two-run bomb in the first inning, and then a double, and so he had two hits in that very crucial 6-2 win over St. Stephen. Sorry about that. That was Buckman. But what a night for Eli Nelson. He's currently playing at Concordia St. Paul. I grew up playing with him. Max knows him. Reuter knows him really well as well. Shout out to the catcher for the Golden Bears right now, doing things for the Rockets out of Raymond, the state amateur baseball tournament.
Obviously, the family connection to Raymond with how many uncles and his dad and his brother are still playing. So it's good to see that they were able to make that step up to B. They were one of the teams that got promoted from C to B, and they're still doing what they do and having success in the state tournament.
I think it's been really cool to see, guys our age making impacts on these teams as well. It's weird to think that we're seniors in college now. Still cool to see all a bunch of names we played with and against growing up and make a name for themselves in amateur baseball world.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then they end up playing the Young America Cardinals in Brownton on Saturday at 1:30.
On the other side of that bracket, my Nisswa Lightning, managed by Coach Paul Jenkins, who we've featured in the past on here as a local legend, my high school coach. They'll be playing on one of the other quarterfinal games. They're going to take on the Springers of Cold Spring. So that'll be a very good game as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a great week of baseball. A lot of baseball still left to be played. It will be a lot of fun.
And that kind of wraps up today's episode here. Me and Max are both very tired. I have an 8 a.m. tomorrow. I'm sure he has an early class tomorrow.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm about ready to go make a sandwich and get to bed here.
Dalton, you got any weekend plans?
Weekend plans for me. So unfortunately, I cannot make it up to the Twin Cities to watch the Gophers or Winona State on Thursday. No class on Friday for me, and I don't know yet. I might make a trip back home. I turn 22 on Saturday, so we'll see.
You know what I'm going to be doing Thursday night? Drake, Upper Iowa, under the lights. First game of a new era. Very much looking forward to that. Maybe
Yeah.
even hit up the Minnesota State Fair
Ooh, I
when
forgot.
that closes. I mean, I've been to the Iowa one, but the Minnesota one is it's
It's
different.
different. Yeah, I mean, Saturday you might find many people might find me on a couch with a couple cold beverages in my hand watching football too. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Gotta love it. Gotta love college football.
We had a jam-packed day. I'm pumped up for it. So
Mhm.
no better way to turn 22.
No, exactly not.
But yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning into this episode, and we will see you guys next week. And just have a blessed night, week. Look forward to talking some more football with you guys next week. Thank you. Peace.